Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you my complete indie polish collection. You may have noticed on my channel that I have been showing you quite in depth on what I have and things like that. So I thought it would be quite exciting to share with you all of the polishes that I own in the indie category. This is going to be quite a long post. I have two big shelves to show you, plus an overflow in my drawer as you're just about to see here. So I really hope you enjoy, and if you stay to the end, you guys are absolute troopers, and let's get into it. So first I'll start by showing you what's on the shelves on my wall, and this is where I hold 90% of my collection. First up I'll show you my picture polish, and for them I have Glitterball, Faro, Heavy Metal, Bordeaux, Bonkers, O'Hara, Dorothy, Watermelon, Love, Sunset, Gelato, Peaches and Cream and Fairy Floss. The next row we have Posy, Bardot, Wisteria, Bluebird, Swagger, Forget Me Not, Midnight Meteor, Freya's Cats, Cosmos, Hope and Instinct. The next three that I can't fit on the shelf, so I just store like that, are Tingle, Tiffany and Camo. Then we move on to the next shelf and we start with Virago Varnish Skin. Then we have Virago Varnish Rosé. Then we have Virago Varnish Disco King. Then I have some Emily de Molly, and for her I have Gazing Upwards and Reign of Osiris. We move on to Graceful and we start with Silver and Gold, Osiris Rose. Then we have Evening Star, Rainbow Explosion. Then we have my much loved Nvr Enuff Unicorn Flower. I absolutely adore this polish. Then we move on to Polish My Life and we start with Mermaid Sparkle, Plumberry Sugar, Deep Sea Gems, and lastly Pumpkin Mashup. Then for the last of this shelf we have Superchic Lacquer, Rosebuddy and Realm of Erotica. Next we move on to the next shelf, and first up we have Pipedream Polish Carbonado Luster, Painted Polish by Lexi Granite Galaxy, Painted Polish by Lexi Concrete Camouflage, Next we have my one and only Polish for Days Intermania. Then we move on to the four Illarians I have, and first up we have 11. Then we have Dove Jam, next up we have Gold Lion, and lastly for this shelf we have Illarian, Blue Moon. Next we move on to the last shelf and we start with my Glisten&Glows, and first up for them we have Doo-Wop and Drive-Ins. Next we have Hand Jiving Hula Hoops with an added dog hair because her hair gets everywhere. And then we have Mantis Atop Mountains. Then we have Hats in Hockey. And finally for Glisten&Glow we have Jukebox and Jitterbug. Then I have a few different dimension polishes. You may remember these from my recent Rainbow Connection haul. So we have Dope, OMG and Bomb, which is from the 90s trio. Then I also have Different Dimensions Supernatural, which is one of my favourite polishes. I think it is so unique and absolutely gorgeous. And lastly for the Different Dimension polishes we have Butterfly Nebula. Next we move on to my Mila polishes. I have 4 of those, and we start with Beach Resort Blue, which is a gorgeous blue cream. Then we have this gorgeous pink, and this one is called Sweet Tooth. Next up we have French Kiss, and then lastly we have Nude Attitude. So that's everything for the first shelf, and now we move on to the second shelf, which is also full of indie polishes. So let's jump right into it. Next up we have my pretty serious polishes, and first up for those I have B-Sod, Can't Take the Sky, Doodlebug, Bunny Foo-Foo, Fluffykins, Cutie Patootie, Peachy Poo, Use the Quartz Lone Star, and finally Little Duckling. Next up we have Moo Moo Signatures, and first up for those we have April's Moon, Bells of Ireland, Seafoam Daisy, Forget Me Not, Ocean's Song, Blush and Akito, and finally Coral Peony. I then have one Pipedream polish on there because it doesn't fit on the rest. Then the second shelf and halfway through the third shelf is also Pipedream polish. So we'll start with the polishes that are not part of a collection. And first up we have Astrament, which is just a black water marble polish. We then have the hollow version, which is called Moonbow. We then have the blue version, which is gorgeous and it's called Smouldering. We then have the clear hollow version, and this one is called Prism Drops. We then have the white water marble polish, which is called White Water, and then lastly I have Clear Water. So we next move on to the Mellowed Out Creams collection, and first up for those we have Unwind. Next we have Take It Easy. As you can see, these bottles really suffer from ugly bottle syndrome and it stresses me out. But next, this one is Peace Out. And next we have Chillax, Keep Calm, and finally Positive Vibes. So next up we move on to a Night in Vegas collection, and first up for those we start with the purple, and this one is called VIP Pass. Next we have All In, Happy Hour, Light of Day, On the List, 110 Degrees, and finally High Roller. Next up I have 4 of these Starrily polishes, which happen to be my favourite glitters. First up we have Ultima. We then have Damsel, Orion's Belt, and finally we have Big Bang Flurry. Next we move on to my Fairmaiden polishes, and first up for those I have Sweet Honeysuckle, Moon Over Morocco, then we have Daring, next up is Playful, we then have Flirty, next for the neons we have Mischievous, next we have Happy, And lastly, we have the cream version of Fiesta Siesta. Next, I have 5 of the ice cream nails polishes. First, we have the yellow, and this one is called Juicy Juicy. This pale pink is Vovolicious. Next, we have this sort of neon coral, and this one is called Gummy Bear. I also have Blackberry Mousse. And finally, for those, I have Blue Heaven. I then have a few I Love nail polish, and first up we have the Magician. Next is Happy Ever After. And finally, we have Shoreline. On to the last shelf, we first start with my Floss Gloss polishes, and first up for those, I have 95% Angel. Then we have Con Limon. Next up is Wave Pool. Very similar to Wave Pool, this one is called Wet. Next up we have Biscuits. Next is Neon Nacho. Next up we have Dime Piece. This is absolutely my favourite rose gold polish. This one is called the Pink Nugget. Next up we have Mauve Wives, which I must admit I bought just for the name. Next up we have Gangsta Boo. And finally, for the Floss Gloss, we have Smoke on the Nail. Next, I have 3 Cirque polishes, and first up for those, I have Idyllic. Next is Halcyon. And finally, we have Epoch. And last on this shelf, I have 3 Enchanted Polishes. First up, we have this beautiful pink one, is called Spring Fling. We then have Monsters Inc. And my favourite of the 3, we have Rain Blue. And finally, we reach the end of my indie polish collection that I have on these shelves, and I just store them all sort of by brand, sort of by colour. And now we will jump on to the indie polishes that I store in the drawer, and this has got quite a few in it as well, so I hope you enjoy part 2. So I've just gone ahead and lined them all out on my desk, and I will go ahead and show you them all one by brand. So I'm going to start off with my 8 Englands. I've only got a few of these, and first up we have probably my favourite of the lot, and this one is called Excalibur. Next we have the very stunning Ascalon. Next up we have Morgan Le Fay. Next up we have this gorgeous gold topper, and this one is called And the Moonbeams. Next we have this silver hollow, and this one is called Encore Margot. Next we have Jane Eyre. And lastly for the A Englands we have Princess Sabra. Now we move on to my single Pringles, and first up we have Celestial Going to the Beach. We then have Nvr Cranberry Sauced, Glam Polish Leap of Faith, obviously not a single Pringle because you saw my Picture Polish collection, but this is Picture Polish Darcy, just there because it doesn't fit. Next up we have Powder Perfect Horace. And lastly we have Elegy Lavender Fluff. We then move on to my KB shimmer polishes, and I only have a few of these as well. And first up for those we have this gorgeous light blue hollow, and this one is called Blued Lines. Next up is this stunning hollow topper, and this one is called Prism Break. We then have What Are You Waiting For? Then we have Diamond. And finally we have KB Shimmer A Touch of Glass. I also have a few more different dimensions. This is the Mother's Day trio, and first up for those we have Your Lilac You Could Use a Break. We then have That's Ranunculus. And lastly, Peony for Your Thoughts. Next we jump right onto my Madame Glam collection, and as you can see, again I only have a few of these. And first up we have Côte d'Azur. We then have this stunning blood red called Endless Passion. Next we have a very similar colour, and this one is called High Standards. Next we have this beautiful pale blue, and this one is called Pastel Sky. Next we have my favourite, and this one is called Your Majesty. And finally we have Tiger Balm. Next are some mixed brands. So first we'll start with the Girly Bits, and this is part of their Neon collection, and this one is called Hoop, There It Is. And then we have These Hips Don't Lie. We then have some Esmalte's De Kelly polishes, and this one is called Golden. Next is a stamping polish. I have no clue why it's in this pile, but this one is called Naomi. I then have a couple of mod lacquers which are now discontinued. Got in because she made stunning polishes, but first we have Goodnight Mod, and finally we have the Pink Cream, and this one is called Energize. Finally, for this little pile, I have two Ever After polishes, and this one is called Mermaid Princess. And this one is called Steel Magnolias. Now we move on to the rest of my Virago Varnish collection, and I have Exposed. This one is called Unclad. Next we have the stickerless blue vinyl. Next we have this gorgeous brick red, and this one is called 12-inch single. This one is called Disco Diva. Next we have I Heart the DJ. And finally, for the Virago Varnishes, we have Omit. Next we move on to my Colours by llarowe collection, and first up we have this old style bottle, and this one is called Jackie. Next we have the Charity Polish Be Bold in Blue. The Seriously Mesmerising Lotus. Then we have 976 Babe, which must be my all-time favourite red. Next we have Make Me Over the Rainbow Bridge, which I got specifically for the name. Next we have Berry Gem, which was the Nailland exclusive. Then we probably have my most prized polish. This is Courage, Brains and Heart. And lastly, for the Colours by llarowe, we have Shiny Happy People. Next, we move on to the Russian indie brand El Corazon, and first up for those, we have IL105, number I10, number IL15, next we move on to the Charm and Beauty collection, also by El Corazon, and we have number 894, then we have the black cream, which is number 878, next we have this bluey grey colour, and this one is number 885, and lastly we have number 895. So we're now going to move on to my collection of HJ manicure polishes, and first up we have Midnight Sky, Sub-Zero, which is the perfect cream grey, we then have Vintage Bronze, Caramel Latte, Peach Blossom, and finally Lace. Next we move on to my little collection of UK indies. So first up we have Heart of Nails, and I got 2 of these as a gift. Considering it was a Christmas gift and this polish is actually called Christmas Gift, is quite funny. Next we have Christmas Party. These are both by Arda's Nails. And next up we have For Your Nails Only, Sassy Sapphire, Funky Fuchsia, Precious Mulberry, and finally Tantalising Turquoise. So guys, we have finally reached the end of my complete indie polish collection, and if you have stayed here, you guys are absolutely amazing and I love yous. So I know this was an obscenely long video, but I really hope you did enjoy this, and maybe if you saw some colours that you fancied, or you were just inspired on how to store your collections and how to split the mainstream from the indies, then I really hope this video helped you. And if you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I upload nail related videos a few times a week, so if you want to see more, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!